Good morning, everyone. Afternoon, evening. You are in for something a little different today. This topic is how to work a job fair. And one of the things that I've noticed is job fairs often get a bad reputation among job seekers for being undergraduate events, low quality affairs. But newsflash, the pandemic has changed this. If you've been sleeping on job fairs, it's time to wake up because the best way to get a job is by networking. And who better than to network with than the actual hiring team of your dream company? But you don't want to just show up unprepared because first impressions matter after all. So I will be sharing my top 6 strategies on how to work a job fair. For those of you tuning in live, welcome. I am 𝐉𝐻𝐈𝐄𝐀𝐌, founder of Jolt Your Career and a firm dedicated to giving ambitious professionals like yourself the tools you need for professional success, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. Now, if you're watching this on replay, go ahead and drop that hashtag replay so I can follow up with you if you have any questions. And if you're watching live, feel free to drop any questions in the comment section. Now, for those of you who know me, I'm not the most coordinated person. And so doing a presentation today is we're going to see how it goes, right? So let me go ahead and pull this up. All right. So if you are just tuning in right now, you may be thinking, wait a minute, this looks a little different than your LinkedIn Lives. And it's because it is. I'm giving you a sneak peek into one of the many resources within my Perfect Fit Accelerator program. Whew, this is a mouthful. All right. So in this training, we are going to quickly cover what a job fair is. I'm going to note why going to them could be beneficial to your job search strategy. And then I am going to wrap up with the 6 tips on how to strategically approach a job fair, probably what you all actually showed up to hear today. But in all seriousness, what is a job fair? In its simplest form, it's a hiring event. A job fair is essentially an event that brings together a mix of different companies and organizations that are actively searching for new hires. Some may be company specific, where others may be industry specific. Some may be an audio room, some may be on Zoom, some may be on Twitter Space. The sky is the limit. So it's really important for you to get comfortable with different type of platforms and kind of explore a little bit beforehand. But without me giving too much away for these tips and tricks, why go to a job fair? For those of you not familiar with the Perfect Fit Accelerated program, it's a consistent and repeatable group coaching experience designed to specifically empower mid to senior level professionals own, advance, or pivot in their career. So in this program, I only focus on the top ROI job search activities so my clients can reach their goals quickly, making the type of income that matches their impact. So this is no nonsense fluff. It goes straight to the point of, if you want to accomplish X, let's go ahead and do ABC, right? Like it's no nonsense, and that is what you are going to get today. And yes, job fairs are one of those high ROI activities as long as you follow the 6 steps that I'll be getting to shortly. So, why go to a job fair? One of the things that I love about attending job fairs is the ability to network directly with recruiters and hiring managers. So, starting right now, starting 6 minutes ago, a virtual job fair is being held for veterans and veteran spouses with some big name companies in attendance, like Oracle and Raytheon and CyberUp. And next week, Mailchimp is having a hiring event on Twitter Space. And minutes ago, a recruiter just posted in the collective another opportunity in 2 weeks, a virtual hiring event. So if you are not already in the Job Search Connection Tuesday collective, definitely go there, join, because gems are dropped constantly. So back to what we're talking about, job fairs. If any of these companies interest you, that's a reason enough to attend the job fair, right? You'll have the opportunity to be interviewed on the spot. And because of the nature of the event, you're more likely to get actual feedback. Now, I will never advocate for a job seeker to waste their time. So if these companies don't interest you, don't go. It's just as simple as that. But if you do a Google search right now, my guess is that your dream company, whatever that may be for you, I prefer the word target company because dream sets really unrealistic expectations on a company. But if you do a Google search of job fairs near you or your target company and job search or virtual hiring event, my bet will be that the company that you're interested in is going to be hosting or attending a job fair or virtual event coming up. And if that's the case, you need to know these 6 steps to get the highest ROI for your time. So let's go ahead and dive into tip number 1. Get an employer list. I know I've already kind of explained that, but I want to make sure that's really clear. You need to know who is going to be at this hiring event. So that way you can do company research on them. If it's new companies, maybe you've been discovered, then maybe you'll discover a new company that you're interested in. Or if you know it's one of your target companies, then you can do some additional research as to what kind of positions that they might be hiring for at this event, which recruiters and hiring managers are going to be attendance. With a little snooping around on either a Google search or on LinkedIn, you will most likely to be able to figure out who is going to be attending what because they promote their presence. So either way, you need to determine if going to this event is worth your time, and you do that by researching who is going to be attending. Now, if there is a position you're interested in, apply prior to attending so the recruiter can, so like the on-site recruiter or hiring manager, whoever's going to be there, can immediately review your application and do a mini or full-blown hiring screening. I know when I was recruiting, I went to a hiring event and I probably interviewed 125 candidates that day and was able to then immediately put an Excel sheet together for the different hiring managers that I had with the requisitions that they had applied to, attaching their resume, and it moved the process along so much more quickly. With summer approaching, that is a valid concern for job seekers. Hey, companies aren't hiring in summer. They are, but hopefully the company that you're applying to values work-life balance and their teams are celebrating summers or activities and graduations and weddings and all the beautiful things that life has to offer, or just taking a break. So yes, historically hiring slows down a little bit or the process is dragged out a little bit, because if you're being intentional about where you're applying to and you value work-life balance, then it may take a little bit longer. So let me catch my breath for a second and say hello to some of the people. I got a LinkedIn user, not sure who you are. What's up, Manny? Rosa, hello. Some more LinkedIn users. For those of you who aren't sure why you're popping up as LinkedIn user, it's because you have your privacy settings set to private, which is okay. Snoop away on the down low. That is no problem in my mind. All right, so those are the first 2 tips. Get a company list and apply to prior to attending. Now, tip number 3 is actually to create a target resume and cover letter for yourself. So even if there's not an open position you're interested in, you could still attend with your resume targeted towards the type of position you're interested in and find out, is there some synergy here? So for those of you who are in my program, there's an example of how to do this in my cover letter training under the professional branding modules. However, if you're not in my program and not sure what a targeted resume and cover letter is, we need to talk, because so often job seekers spin their wheels and can't figure out why they're not being selected or what's going wrong or how the process is breaking down. And so often, slight little tweaks can be the difference on getting the interview and getting the offer or not. And so when you are targeting your resume and cover letter, you should be addressing unique company needs within your branding documents. And this isn't rocket science. If you have a well-crafted resume, this will take you all of 5 to 10 minutes to do. But we'll leave that for another day because I've got 30 minutes to get through this all to you before I head up to Wisconsin for a very fun LinkedIn local networking event. I hope to see some of you there. All right, moving on to tip number 4. When at a job fair, you may only have 5-minute conversation. So it's imperative to at least know your elevator pitch when approaching recruiters at the job fairs or even the hiring managers that'll be in attendance. If you're going to a virtual job fair, you may even be able to register for one-on-one slots or group breakout rooms. So you can have it in your schedule when you're going to go to what, where if you're going in person, there's typically lines at the different booths. And one thing to keep in mind is just like you're going to have a targeted resume and cover letter, you may have a targeted elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch may be slightly different from company to company that you're chatting with. Most recently, I helped a client. He's in pharmaceuticals and the pharmaceutical industry. And one of the companies, how his elevator pitch differed is, oh, congratulations. I see you were recently recognized by the Boston Globe as the top pharmaceutical company to work for. That isn't the same thing that you can do for the next company. So doing that company research, keeping track of these details and nuances between what one company wants to the next company is really going to help set you apart. It is a total game changer. So there are a lot of ways to craft your elevator pitch. Most people start by sharing. Most people start by sharing their experience. But if you really want to stand out from the crowd, try a more creative approach. Those of you who know me, you know I'm a type A person. I maybe have a little bit of creativity to me, probably a little bit more sass, but I cut to the chase. What is it? Who you are, what you're there for, and what do you want? So, of course, I still think it's important to start off with pleasantries. That's always professional, but then quickly jump to the chase. You have a very limited amount of time to get FaceTime with the person that you're there to talk to. So get to it. If you're at an in-person event, you may be handing over your professional marketing material. Maybe that's a business card, your resume, your cover letter, whatever documents that you brought so you can really shine while you're there. However, when you're in a virtual event, you may be attaching things to a chat. And so either way, you want to be coordinated enough to do those things. And I have complete faith in you because if I can be coordinated enough to semi look at the camera while I'm moving the presentation around on the restream screen, then you can absolutely craft your elevator pitch, articulate your elevator pitch, and hand over a document either by hand or a click of a mouse at the same time. It just may take a little bit of practice, and you can do that with a stuffed animal, partner, whatever. I mean, you can practice it with me, right? We can go into the DMs and have a go at it. So I'm guessing you want an example, right? Everybody's like, okay, this sounds great, but Tegan, give me a freaking example so I know what you're talking about. So here we go. One of my favorite clients is an automation leader. So let me be him for a second. So I'll be the job seeker speaking to the recruiter. Hey, Sam, it's so nice to meet you. That's the pleasantries. I'm Tegan, an automation leader specializing in leveraging AI and robotics to create massive financial capacity and performance ROIs for companies. That's the who. I applied to your director of automation position online, attaching my resume for your reference in the comments. That's the what. I'd love to chat further about my understandings of emerging trends, innovations, and how technologies and automation can propel your company's success. That's the want. It's so different than saying, hi, Sam, I'm Tegan. I graduated from this school and I worked at this company and then this company and then this company and this company. And now I have this title and I'm looking for this kind of job, right? Those are two very different kinds of vibes that you're going to be giving this recruiter. So let me put this all together for you. And I'm sorry if I'm going fast. I wanted to make sure I provided you massive value today before I went and had a little bit of fun time. So let me repeat this one more time to you. Hey, Sam, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Tegan, an automation leader specializing in AI and robotics to create massive financial capacity and performance ROIs for companies. I applied to your director of automation position online, attaching my resume for your reference in the messages. I'd love to chat further with you about my understanding of emerging trends, innovations, and how technologies and automations can propel your company's success. So the goal isn't to sound robotic here, but it's to know exactly what the requisition is calling for and letting this recruiter know exactly what you're looking for. So the requisition is the job description. You should already have had the job description, reviewed it to know you want this position. You should have already done company research to know that that's what they're looking for. So this quote, it's tailored to what the position that you're applying for is. So the recruiters, spidey senses start going off. Oh, that's exactly what my client, the hiring manager, is looking for. Like, let me slow down here a second. And maybe instead of only giving you 5 minutes, maybe you end up chatting for 10 to 15 minutes and going straight into a more in-depth initial screening, so you can move the process along quicker once you leave the job fair. And even better, if the hiring manager is there, you can get straight down to business. So that's an elevator pitch. Let me check the comments real quick. We've got Vanessa who says, love it. We've got Sarah coming in from the UK. I'm hoping to get out there soon. Is there a job fair for non-technical roles? Yes, absolutely. If you're not in the Job Connection Tuesday Collective already, please join. A recruiter 20 minutes ago just posted about a job fair that's hiring roles across the spectrum that aren't technical. Actually, there's a stigma with job fairs that the majority of them are for like manufacturing companies or tech. And that's simply just not the case. There's job fairs that are hiring for marketing and so on and so forth. We have a hello from India, hello from Chicago, soon to be Wisconsin. We've got good morning and a question. Okay, so what's the question? Let me take the question off so I can see it. When would you recommend we apply prior to the start of the virtual event? A week beforehand, a day beforehand? What would you recommend? Oh, I love that question. Honestly, it doesn't matter as long as your candidacy is in their hub. That's all that matters. And so let's say Microsoft, right? I'm on Restream, Azure Cloud hosts Restream. So let's say your dream company is Microsoft and they have like 20 different positions you could potentially be interested in. Apply to one, maybe a week, maybe a couple of days in advance. And then when you go to the job fair, tell the recruiter, hey, I applied to this position online. However, there was quite a few positions that piqued my interest. Now that you've gotten to learn a little bit more about me, are there any particular roles that you specifically think I should be applying to based on what you know your clients, the hiring managers, are looking for? That's a great way for them to say, oh, yes, because they're going to be able to see in their ATS, oh, that role that you actually applied to is in process. We just haven't closed it out yet because background's still being ran. So they can't close it out until someone officially starts. Or Meta right now, they're on a hiring freeze for certain grade levels. And so maybe that's the case. Oh, this is actually on a freeze, but let's go ahead and have you apply to this position because this department can move forward with these engineers. Christina, hopefully that answered your question. Scott, what's up from Dallas? Awesome. Okay. Thank you all for joining me here. All right. So, tip number 5. Here we go. Arrive early. I know that this may seem silly, but there's a good reason for it. Job fairs can be overwhelming. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert, and it's easy to just be exhausted by an all-day job fair. And honestly, it's really easy to forget who you spoke to throughout the day because everybody eventually just kind of blends together. So, my tip number 5 is to arrive early because you're more likely to be remembered because the hiring team that's there representing the company will be fresher. Now, if you can't arrive earlier, still go. Don't make that be your excuse. Still go, but you better have a really freaking good elevator pitch to make yourself memorable. And this is not one of the tips that I'm including, but if it's in person or even virtual, when it comes to what do you wear, which is a common question I get asked, dated advice is to wear black, wear gray, wear blue. If that's what you wear to work on a daily basis, fine. Show up as yourself. But if you like a little bit of color in your life and you rock a lime yellow power suit, or I love my red suits and my blue suits, do it. It is okay to show up as yourself, and you won't be remembered. I remember this advice. Someone said, you don't want to wear color to an interview. You don't want to be that girl who's remembered as, oh, she wore a red suit to the interview. If you stand out for good reasons and they say, and she wore a red suit to an interview, she is gonna, come in and get along so well with the team. She's doesn't have fear. It's gonna be a good thing. So throw all that dated BS and misogynist advice out the window because it's BS. But arrive early. Let me get off my tangent before I run out of time. All right, so tip number 6, get their contact information. Oh, this is my number 1 pet peeve for a couple of my clients right now. You know who you are. Regardless if you arrive early or not, get the recruiter's contact information so you can follow up with a thank you note. Not all recruiters are checking their connection requests. So yeah, you can kind of follow up on the back end with a connection request thank you note, but that limits you to 300 characters. And if you don't have the proper spelling of their name, you might not be able to find them. So you can share a quick QR code. So let me go on LinkedIn right now because I don't have a screen share of this. I should have done that for you guys. Oh, hey, there's like 20 people watching right now, which is cool. I mean, numbers don't really matter, but I'm really excited for people who are open to going to job fairs. So where's the QR code? So when you go on to your LinkedIn profile and you go into the search barcode, there's going to be a little QR graphic. Click on it. And then all of a sudden, your QR code pops up. And so if you are at an in-person event, pop this baby up. I don't care if you're at a bar. I don't care if you're at your dentist. Pull this up and say, hey, it was great chatting with you. Are you open to connecting on LinkedIn? And bam, now you've got LinkedIn, more LinkedIn connections with people you had real life experiences at, and you're more likely to be remembered. This is a nifty little trick for obtaining contact information. If you're in person, you could also get a business card, and virtual or not, simply jotting the email address down so you can follow up, depending on what makes the most sense for the situation you're in, is a great thing. So, whew, that was a mouthful. It is 11:26 Central Time, so our time is coming to an end. So I want to close on this note. I often hear people who get jobs at job fairs are lucky. If you're in the Job Search Tuesday Collective, you know that one of the members who have had a 14-year gap went to a job fair and got connected with someone and ultimately got a job offer. So it's that wasn't luck. That wasn't luck. That was strategy. That was preparation. And honestly, maybe luck does play a little into the job search, but we can control our luck. Let me take this presentation off so you can see me right now. Maybe luck does play into our job search a little bit. But when we control our luck, it's luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And that will allow you to take action and massively implement what you learned today. So go and explore your target companies. See if they're going to be hosting or attending a job fair coming up. Look to your community center. Oftentimes, governors are hosting job fairs themselves and getting some really big name and really innovative startups and everything in between to attend. My church has a hiring event. Career groups have hiring events. Unemployment centers frequently have recruiters that come and sit in the center and do interviews on the spot. There are so many opportunities for you to get your name out there. And what better way to do that than speaking directly with the person that can give you the opportunity to be hired or to be passed on to the hiring manager? So that is how to work a job fair. Now let me look in these comments again. Okay. In a virtual job fair for a company that has multiple recs for a position, when attaching your resume, should you also reference a specific requested ID you apply to? Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can make a recruiter's job easier, do it. Now you can say, I applied to this requisition. Here's the number so you can quickly pull it up. However, there were other positions that I was interested in as well. But I would love to get, your feedback on if you think any of the other roles would be a good fit for me. I didn't want to apply to too many before I got some more information on what was more appropriate for me. However you word it, yes, absolutely. A rec number is great to have on hand. Great question, Vanessa. And then Rosa says, will this be on replay? Yes, you can go to YouTube, Jolt Your Career with Tegan Bartos. That's my YouTube channel, and all my videos are stored there on replay. And you can go through my activity section too and watch it on replay. But I find it's easier to watch it on YouTube than on LinkedIn because it like lags a little bit. I find the replays on LinkedIn. And then this LinkedIn user says, where do I find a job fair? That's a great question. I mean, I am a Google goddess. I can pretty much, I might as well be a Google CIA agent because you can find anything on this darn site. Click the search bar, job fairs near me. To identify who your target company is. Upcoming Amazon hiring event. Use the terms job fair, virtual hiring event, virtual job fair. I mean, there's so many different keywords that you can use in a Boolean search. A Boolean search just means you're using multiple words to find that search. And LinkedIn is a great place to do that. I already mentioned earlier on in this training that Job Connection Tuesday Collective, join it. There's multiple hiring events going on. One's going on right now for veterans and veteran spouses. There's going to be one on Twitter Space for MailChimp next week. And then I forgot the company who's going to be the week following, but marketing roles, tech role. I mean, there's so many different things that are going on right now. So lots of places to find it. And if you can't find it, DM me what you're interested in, what target companies you have, and I'll teach you how to Google search like a creep. This question is, can you recommend some companies in US that are hiring undergrads from India? That's a great question. I would reach out to college recruiters. College recruiters not only work with undergrads, they work with master's graduates as well as PhD candidates. And oftentimes they're specifically looking for talent that are fresh grads, etc. As terms of like sponsorships and whether you want to be relocated here to the States or stay virtual, those things all vary dramatically, but definitely on LinkedIn, if you search college recruiters, it's a great place to start. Another great way to do that is by creeping on people's profiles on your target company. So Ben and Jerry's, say you like Ben and Jerry's, you can go on Ben and Jerry's page, click on the people who work there. There's like a little link that says 1,000 whatever people work here. Click on that, and then you can go through and see who the job titles are and how long they've been there. And if it's somebody who was recently hired, send them a connection request. Hey, Tegan, congratulations on your landing your recent role at Ben & Jerry's. I see that you're a new grad as well. Any tips for other fellow grads who are looking, to break into their first job post-college? That is a great way to gain rapport by sharing some similarities when you're sending it. And for those people who have content creator on, it's going to give you the option to follow, not connect. All you have to do is press more, and to send the personalized connection request, click add note. Anytime you connect with someone, please, please, please add that note. Now, if you're doing it on your phone, you press more, personalized connection, then you can type the note. So it's a little different depending on which way you're using. I will say the desktop version is so much more user-friendly while you're on your job search, where the mobile version is great for scrolling. All right. AWS Summit ATL in May is free and will be a great opportunity. I feel like this might be an invitation. I want some level up in tech swag, and I will come down and represent hard for the team. So let's see those LUs in the comments if you are tuning in. Okay, so next question. Hello, friend. Hello. Please partner with God to save the orphans from hunger. With only $2, you can feed the children for 3 days. Oh, sounds like a great cause. Thanks for sending me the information. I volunteer with a lot of organizations, both for job search help and also monetarily. So I will definitely look into your organization and see if it's something that, I want to add to my plethora of philanthropic work. Thanks for sharing. And then is the name of the group Job Search Tuesday Collective? Let me see. I should know this, right? Sorry, Dan. Job Search Tuesday Collective. Okay. So for anyone else who is trying to find groups, when you're doing a search on your phone, see how there's all these links up here, post, jobs, people, groups, sort it by groups. So you can narrow down your search field, and then it pops up right under groups. As soon as I get off this live, I will go ahead and put it in the comments. So that way you can easily get to it, or I can send you a link in the DMs. We've got the LUs here. That's right. All right. And I've seen companies like Intel that are doing interviews there on the spot. That's so dope to know, because, right, that's what we want. That's why we want to go to job fairs, is to be interviewed on the spot. I can tell you, I have hired multiple people on the spot at job fairs in the past. This typically doesn't happen at the executive level, right? Like, there's a process for that, but plenty of entry level to mid-level variety of industries. I've been able to go in, and because I was an agency recruiter, Some of my hiring managers didn't even need to interview. They said, you found somebody great, get them through the process and we'll get them started. However, if you know me, you know who you work for matters. So if that's the case for you, if you're interviewing with a recruiter and they say you're hired, it is okay to push back and say, I am so excited for this opportunity. I would love to chat with the hiring manager briefly to ensure that this is also a good fit for me. Who I work for matters. You can do that. It is really important for you to own your career. And that's one way to do it, is by being an advocate for yourself. And so we've got the Job Search Collective link. Thanks to the LinkedIn user who posted that. Appreciate that. And it is officially 11:37 a.m. Central Standard Time, which means I am going to be offline for the rest of the day, because I am headed up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for a little bit of Spotted Cow and a LinkedIn local event. If you want to host your own LinkedIn local event, do it. It is so much fun to meet people in real life. Next week, let me see who I've got next week. Who will I be chatting with this week? Oh, last week I told you that I was going to be speaking to a client of mine who is really frustrated and burnt out on the job search. He could not be here today because he got an offer and is in the final interview stages today with 2 different companies. The insider sources are telling him he's the top contender. So he may have 3 competing offers coming up, which is amazing. I want that for all of you. So if you're thinking, this is a crock of shit, this does not work, it does. It does. So next week, next week, I am going live with an engineering manager at Google, and he's actually hiring 4 people for his team. But we are going to be chatting about how he made the decision to accept a position at Google as a manager when he also had an offer as a managing partner and also had an offer at 2 competitors of Google, and how he made that decision. These multiple offers that my clients that I brag about because I'm so excited for them, this is possible for you. And when you do get into that position, it's a difficult decision to make. So we are going to be chatting about the different areas that you may want to weigh out the pros and cons, because money ain't everything. Title isn't everything. In his case, it came down to he wanted to be challenged. So without giving too much away, I'm going to end here. Thank you all so much for those of you who tuned in. For those of you who are catching this on replay, if you have any other question, my DMs are open. Ask away. I am here to support. And for those of you, it's Friday. So I still will be hosting office hours at 2:00 Central Time on Zoom. If you would like to attend and get 100% free job search advice from not only myself, but Dan Roth, a recruiter at Amazon, send us a DM, join the collective. We are here to help you in a safe and supportive space. So without further ado, I will see you